"Bury me here," she begged, and when the cowboy grabbed her, she trembled and grew afraid. The wind tore across the empty plains when Jacob Cole found her. A lone woman collapsed beside an abandoned well, her hands scraped, her breath shallow, her eyes full of a sorrow deeper than the land itself. He stepped toward her carefully, the way a man approaches a wounded soul, and then she whispered the words that stopped his heart cold. "Please, bury me here." There was no drama in her voice, no panic, only acceptance, as if she believed her story had already ended long before he arrived. Jacob crouched beside her, stunned. "Ma'am, you ain't dying today." But when he reached to help her up, she flinched so violently that her whole body trembled, not from cold, but from fear, real, bone-deep fear. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "You don't understand. If he finds me, if he sees me alive, he'll finish what he started." Jacob scanned the horizon, empty, silent, harmless. Yet the terror in her eyes told him danger was closer than either of them could see. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Lydia," she breathed. "I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be alive." Jacob extended his hand. She stared at it for a long moment, then finally placed her trembling fingers in his. Something fragile met something steady, and in that moment, Jacob made a silent promise. Whoever chased her, whoever hurt her, whoever pushed her to beg for her own grave, would never touch her again. He lifted her carefully, and when her collar shifted, he saw the bruises. Dark, fresh, cruel. His jaw tightened. Someone had laid a heavy hand on her, someone who believed she'd stay down. He guided her to his horse. "We ride," he said softly. "And you stay awake. We're not done yet." Her voice cracked. "He won't stop." Jacob looked straight ahead, the weight of his vow settling in. "Neither will I." They reached an old hunting cabin as night swallowed the plains. Lydia sat near the fire, the flames, trembling just like her hands. Jacob tended to her wounds with a gentleness that surprised even him. He had broken wild horses with less patience, but something about her pain made him slow down, breathe deeper, speak softer. "You want to tell me what happened?" he asked. "You'll walk away," she whispered. "I ain't walked away from worse." She held his gaze, searching, hoping, testing whether he was truly the kind of man who would stay. Then finally she spoke. "My husband." The words alone crushed the air between them. He wasn't always cruel, but the land hardened him, turned him bitter. He started drinking, shouting, then hurting me whenever the world disappointed him. Her hand drifted to her bruised collar. "One night he beat me until I couldn't move, dragged me to that well, said he'd end it there, said I wasn't worth the dirt I stood on." Jacob's fist tightened until his knuckles went white. "He thought I was dead," she whispered. "I crawled away when he left." Before Jacob could answer, a soft crack snapped outside, subtle but unmistakable. Lydia froze, her eyes widening. Jacob motioned for silence and grabbed his rifle. The air outside was cold enough to sting, but what Jacob found stung far worse. Tracks, fresh, heavy, circling the cabin. Lydia's trembling voice drifted from the doorway. "Is it him?" Jacob didn't speak for a long moment. Then he turned to her, eyes cold with purpose. "Pack what you can carry." Her breath hitched. "Where are we going?" "To end this," he said, "once and for all." She stared at him, startled, terrified, yet for the first time he saw something new in her eyes. Hope. They rode out into the darkness, the moon guiding them across the silent plains. Lydia clung to the back of his coat not because she was afraid of falling, but because for the first time in a long time she wasn't running alone. And Jacob Cole didn't ride like a man escorting a victim. He rode like a man protecting a life he refused to lose. Ahead of them lay a storm, a confrontation neither could avoid. A man twisted by bitterness and rage waited somewhere in the shadows, convinced Lydia belonged in the ground she had begged for. But Jacob wasn't about to let her be buried, not in the earth, not in fear, not in the past. She had survived hell. He was ready to fight it. And together, they would write the ending she never believed she deserved. If you want, I can continue the intense final showdown next. Long, emotional, powerful.